Welcome back, lifestyle enthusiasts. We're trustedShoppingGuide.com, and today we're in the lifestyle. In this video, two mirrorless camera brands will be going head-to-head. We have the Nikon Z9 FX format mirrorless camera and the Sony Alpha 1 interchangeable lens mirrorless camera. If you want to take your photography to the next level beyond what a smartphone or point-and-shoot can provide, a mirrorless camera will likely be the one you're looking for. Since there is no mirror to reflect light from the lens upward and out of the viewfinder to your eye before you take the photo, this alternative is often more compact than DSLRs. Instead of using a mirror to reflect the image onto the lens, mirrorless cameras use a live feed from the camera's sensors to project an image onto a small LCD or OLED screen inside the camera, which acts as an electronic viewfinder. You can imagine the experience as gazing at a miniature TV, with the sole program being whatever your camera's lens is aimed at. In this video, we are pitting two of our 4-badge contenders, the Nikon Z9 FX format mirrorless camera and the Sony Alpha 1 interchangeable lens mirrorless camera. Though they were behind 1 point in the last review, we'll surely be witnessing their 5-badge functions as they exchange bidding in today's brand wars. If you are interested in other mirrorless cameras that we have reviewed, do check out our mirrorless camera review video linked below. If you want direct links to the products themselves, all these links are also listed below too. So without further ado, let's start the brand wars. The first category that these mirrorless cameras will be going toe-to-toe with would be their processing engine. Camera processing determines the camera's location by determining the eye position, the scene's center, and which axis is upward. Images can be viewed from different perspectives by shifting the eye's position and the direction it is pointing at. In digital cameras and devices, image processing is usually identified by an image processing unit or IPU, an image signal processor or ISP, and a type of media processor or specialized digital signal processor, also called DSP. The Sony Alpha 1 interchangeable lens mirrorless camera has a Bionz XR image processing engine, which is 8 times quicker than its previous model, the Bionz X. This engine manages all aperture and picture recognition with changes and develops image quality in real time. It also greatly enhances the processing power of still images and film-esque photos while reducing processing latency. To top it off, the user interface, network, and file management processing are dispersed so that regardless of real-time processing load, you will still get a quick and stress-free control response. On the other hand, the strong Nikon Z9 FX format mirrorless camera processing engine is 10 times faster than earlier models. It calculates autofocus and auto-exposure computations at 120 cycles per second. The dual-stream data from the stacking image sensor is processed separately, which enables capabilities like 8K video recording with 120 frames per second, which is best for still photography and blackout-free watching, among others. In this rumble, the Nikon Z9 FX format mirrorless camera will be taking home the first win with its 10 times quicker processing engine. The second category that these two brands will be going toe-to-toe with would be their flash sync. When using flash, you cannot use a shutter speed quicker than the sync speed. A partial blackout of the image results from using a vintage camera more than 20 years old. However, modern cameras automatically override you when the flash is on, so be careful in selecting the flash sync. The Sony Alpha 1 mirrorless camera is considered to have the fastest mechanical shutter flash sync speed in the market, at 1/400th of a second in full frame and 1/500th of a second in APS-C mode. This is thanks to the considerable improvements in both mechanical and electronic shutter performance. It includes a robust and lightweight carbon fiber shutter curtain, as well as an upgraded dual-driven shutter mechanism. It uses a spring and an electromagnetic drive actuator for a quicker shutter response. The flash can also be used to highlight the subject's additional dimensions. The expedient flash sync works well for photographs with a wide open aperture in bright settings, and it can also be used to match exposure to a bright background when flash is utilized to illuminate a moving subject. A faster flash sync focuses more on higher flash output than using high-speed sync. On the flip side, there isn't much detail on the Nikon Z9 FX format mirrorless camera's flash sync, but there are some reviews that isn't its its best area, with some reported inconsistencies every now and then. That said, the Sony Alpha 1 mirrorless camera easily snatches the crown in this round. The third category that these two brands will be going toe-to-toe with would be their resolution. The resolution of a camera is the amount of detail it can record, and it is expressed in pixels. An increase in the number of pixels in the camera results in clearer, more detailed, and less grainy photographs. Top-tier consumer cameras typically hover over 12 megapixels. Professional cameras can produce up to 16 megapixels, while large-format cameras have 20 megapixels. But as you know, this quality is already available in smartphones, so we might have to look for higher resolution, which our two contenders are definitely providing. The Nikon Z9 FX format mirrorless camera has a stunning 45.7 megapixel image quality. Even photography expert Jerry Gionis is fascinated with this resolution, which is great for capturing portraits, fashion shows, and weddings. The Sony Alpha 1 mirrorless camera might be taking bigger leaps in this match, though. This model boasts an exceptional fusion of sharp resolution and lightning fast speed. Continuous burst shots of up to 30 frames per second with autofocus and auto-exposure tracking are possible thanks to the 50.1 megapixel sensor's readout. This makes it go beyond perfecting still photos, but also covering sports events and dynamic or moving shoots. For this category, we are giving the Sony Alpha 1 mirrorless camera its well-deserved win, as it managed to outdo its competitor with its 50.1 megapixel resolution. The fourth category that these two brands will be going toe-to-toe with would be their blackout-free. Mirrorless cameras, in contrast to digital cameras, struggle with the drawback of blacking out, since they must first close the shutter and erase all of the data from the sensor before they can open the shutter again and expose the sensor so that the LCD or EVF can display the scene. However, with blackout-free alternatives, you may keep looking at the subject in the viewfinder or display without having to worry about dropped frames. Both of our contenders are actually blackout-free, which will help you connect with your subject like never before. However, the Sony Alpha 1 mirrorless camera seems to have an inherent advantage, as this option does not black out as exposure is cleared, giving the user an unbroken view of the subject and scene even during high-speed continuous shooting. This is due to its high-quality resolution. From shooting sports scenes with quick and irregular moving targets to portraiture where brief expressions will make a big difference, blackout-free shooting with good resolution is a game-changer. This round seems to be an easy win for the Sony Alpha 1 mirrorless camera, with how it merges the blackout-free feature with its award-winning resolution. The fifth and final category that these two brands will be going toe-to-toe with would be their silent mode. For mirrorless cameras, there is already no mirror to flick open back and forth, but even the shutter sound can be eliminated. This is ideal when you're shooting animals that are sensitive to sound, as well as young kids. The only sound made by most mirrorless cameras when in silent mode is the aperture closing before taking a picture. To make things even better, the camera may be made virtually silent by entirely turning off the shutter. The Nikon Z9 FX format mirrorless camera has a silent mode that reduces lens drive noises, disables VR lock, and mutes menu sounds when you need to bend in. Additionally, as the Z9 lacks a mechanical shutter, you can shoot without hearing the shutter click, or use headphones to isolate the sound of the simulated shutter. But just like the previous round, the Sony Alpha 1 mirrorless camera is once again offering more. This option has an electronic shutter that is completely silent and vibration-free. When photographing sports or events in a peaceful setting, a silent shutter is perfect for reducing the possibility of a vibration-induced blur, which further improves resolution and image quality. It also has a handy all-in-one silent mode feature in the menu, which makes it easy to select all parameters relating to silent operation, enabling quick setup while photographing performances in public spaces like theaters or concerts. The silent and vibration-free electronic shutter of the Sony Alpha 1 mirrorless camera helped it lock in yet another win. The battle of the greatest between the Nikon Z9 FX format mirrorless camera and the Sony Alpha 1 interchangeable lens mirrorless camera has finally come to an end. With a score of 4-1, though the Nikon Z9 FX format mirrorless camera started strong by taking the first win in the processing engine department, the Sony Alpha 1 interchangeable lens mirrorless camera still knocked it over as it steals the show in the flash sync, resolution, blackout-free, and silent mode departments. And there you have it, folks. The battle between the Nikon Z9 FX format mirrorless camera and the Sony Alpha 1 interchangeable lens mirrorless camera has finally ended. If you have any contenders for our next mirrorless camera face-off which you would like our team to test, do drop it in the comment section below and we will be sure to assess them for our next update. If you liked this video and it helped you in any way, please do give it a like and hit the subscribe button so that you can stay connected and updated with all of our research into everything that makes our lifestyles great. We look forward to seeing you at thetrustedShoppingGuide.com again soon.